Isn't it just amazing how much we can learn from the world around us? Next up, we have Hugo. Hugo is going to dive into the science of paranormal activity. Get ready for a spooky, exciting, and maybe even a little mysterious story. Let's give Hugo a warm welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear me? Okay. It is with great pleasure that I present to you a subject of mine, the science of the paranormal. Now, before we start this speech, how many of you have had something paranormal in your life? Raise your hand. Okay. Now, here's a fun fact about this. About globally, 50% of people believe in the paranormal and 50% of people do not believe in the paranormal. It is half and half. But now here's something more interesting about that. People who believe in the paranormal oftentimes have had their entire chemistry changed overnight, or at least over the period where they lived these experiences. Now here's something fascinating about this. It is all about the brain, all about the heart and the human body. But now let's get into the question itself. What is the paranormal? Well, this is going to change your life. This is going to change the way you see things, as I'm going to explain to you. The paranormal, something that is exterior to ourselves, first must be comprehended by something within, because what is within is also without. And to understand the paranormal, we must first understand ourselves. And for this, I have about 5 points. The first point I'm going to make is about energy. What is the human body? The human body, overall, is a machine. We need, for example, sleep. We need to eat. We need to drink. All of this helps us gain energy for all the day. For example, I need to drink, I need to eat, I need to sleep to feel recharged. I need to recharge my batteries. When I'm tired, I need to sleep, I need to charge my batteries. Oh, I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling this. The body is energy. The body is overall a battery that needs constantly to be refilled, recharged, and so on and so forth. Yes? For example, we can also go further with the way the human body breaks down food and then become glucose, that then become this and that, and all these nutrients that feed the body with energy travel through the veins and so on and so forth. Yes. But now let's go even more further. What does this impact exactly? Well, something very clear about this is that emotions, energy throughout the whole body is affected by something very particular. It is two things. First, the brain, but I'm going to talk about one. Second is the heart. The heart generates something that is called the force field. By this energy that we heat, that we constantly have, this field that is made by the heart is an electromagnetic field which surrounds our body. And it is psychic to profit. Now, with this field is actually impacted very easily by emotions. For example, anger, sadness, joy, happiness, and so on and so forth. Yes. This field is impacted by emotions, by raw vibration of these emotions. And thus, our whole body sense whenever something is not right. For example, sometimes I feel sad, sometimes I feel happy. This affects the way I feel. This affects the way I am. But where am I going with this? Well, gentlemen, ladies, the body is energy. There's vibration, there's a force field, there's only three things to talk about. But now what does this have to do with the paranormal? Well, spirits, ghosts, or cells or spirit is energy, raw energy. And this impacts all the surroundings. For example, if I were to be dead right now, and I went to you as a spirit, if I were to play around with your emotions a little bit, the way how you feel by this electromagnetic field around yourself, I will be able to switch and change the way you feel, change the way you are, just by this. Now, here's something very funny about this. About 8 years ago, me and my best friend, Raphael, from France, is my best friend, and we used to be all the time outside together, playing games, exploring places, going to haunted houses, and so on. One night, we dared each other to go into a abandoned place because it was apparently haunted. My friend Raphael did not believe in anything. He did not believe in ghosts, paranormal. He believed simply jokingly. We went there at night, and we slept there. But what happened to him that night, that very night, changed all of him. It changed everything in him. It changed the way he thought, the way he acted, and everything it was. Because overnight, what he lived put back into question everything he had. And he told me that even his feelings were now shook. He was shaking, was not feeling well the very next day. And he came to me and said, Hugo, you were right. But now, let's get back into what we were. We talked about vibration, we talked about emotions. Now it is now time to delve into vibration more in depth. Vibration, for example, affects everything, all of our body, emotions, the way we act, the way we think, the way we are. But what does this affect exactly? It affects the body. And what is the body? What are we made of exactly? We are made of 70% water, yes? And what does glucose, what does energy, all of this travel by? Travels by blood, travels by water. We constantly need to refill ourselves with water, with energy. All of this, all I'm talking about is interlinked. Everything goes with each other because it is connected. One is also with the other. One is always with the other. It cannot be separate from it. And this is important. You must always remember this to be able to understand the paranormal and the spirits. But let's go even more further now, shall we? Onto the fourth and final part. Energy, vibration, water. The body is overall a sponge, and the spirit is water. What is retained by the body, so the sponge, and water, spirits, can be explained simply by this very simple imagery. When we die, what happens? Well, the body, so the sponge, is squished out. And what happens afterwards is that the water is then let out, the spirit itself, therefore the raw energy. This raw energy then is impacted by vibration, so again, emotions, the way we feel, because if I were to die, if I'm angry, if I'm sad, the vibration will impact the force field before the moment before I die. It will impact it greatly. It will decide whether it is heavy, so in a negative form, or light in the positive form. Again, correlated to energy. But this goes even more beyond that. The moment I die, this energy, this frequency of mine, is going to change by my emotions. For example, if I die angry, I will be angered in the afterlife. And my vibration will be clearly recognizable, because if someone were to be beside me and I'm a ghost, I come to them, they will feel very bad. They will feel, oh, I'm not feeling very well. I have anger out of nowhere, all of a sudden. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt anger or sadness out of nowhere for no reason? Raise your hand. Here we go. This can be explained by two things. One, exterior factors, and one, inside. But as I said before, what is within is also without. What is inside is also outside. This may be clearly and can be a ghost. You had a presence, you had a family member that was deceased, or someone or something that was beside you, playing with your force field, your energetic magnetic fields. And this impacts directly the way you feel, the way you are, as I say. But now let's go even more deeper. Ghosts are real. This is my tips point. Ghosts, overall, are us, but dead. We cannot really see them, we cannot really tap, because technically we cannot really see energy. We can sense heat, for example, but we cannot really see it. We can sense UV lights, but we cannot really see it. My point is that even though we cannot see it, it is there, it is present. Same for vibration, for energy. We cannot see it, it is there. But now, I would like to address this subject a bit more deeper. The paranormal has been something that has been frowned upon for a very long time, because people were not very into it. People were afraid, they did not understand what it worked. But little did we know that the way to understand the paranormal is to first understand ourselves, to comprehend and understand our own feelings. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the science of the paranormal. Thank you very much.